They used to call Elvis Presley the king of rock and roll, but Presley himself knew who the real king was. He once told a singer named Richard Penniman, "Your music has inspired me, you are the greatest." Richard who? Well, you might know him better as Little Richard, a performer who set the style and the stage for generations of rock and rollers to come. Mind you, that influence wasn't all good. Little Richard found himself frequently in big trouble over drugs and sex. His outrageous behaviour, his lipstick, mascara, hairdos once scandalised America. But a lot of things have changed in the last 30 years, including Little Richard.
Let it all hang out! With the beautiful Little Richard from down in Macon, Georgia.
Little Richard. He's done it all. Sex, drugs, and most of all, rock and roll.
I want you all to know that I am the king of rock and roll!
When I was first came in rock and roll, I didn't drink or smoke. I didn't know anything about drugs because I'd never seen it in my hometown. Later on in life, I felt, I came to California and I saw things that I'd never seen before, and it was a sex drive there. But I'm through driving now. I've parked my car.
You parked your
and
car.
I'm walking up the stairway.
Saturday night and I just got paid. My money all the time. Say, one thing go, have time. Saturday night now, till the band gonna rock it up.
He blasted his way into the history books with a new brand of music that set the stage that others could only follow. Up-and-comers like Mick Jagger.
Little Richard was the first thing I remember, like, as far as rock and roll is concerned.
We was in Birmingham, England, and Mick Jagger, the place was just gone mad, and he used to stand and watch me every night entertain. He loved the way I walked the stage, and he would just have a fit. I think that my music is really the force.
Oh, yeah!
When I came about, everybody thought I was crazy, and they would call the music terrible, and bad, and after you start winning with it, everybody got on the bandwagon in the boat.
Everybody followed you.
Everybody started claiming and naming and blaming.
Meaningless words that not only launched Little Richard, but gave birth to rock and roll itself back in 1956.
Boy, you don't know what you do to me,
I'm the originator. I'm the emancipator. I'm the architect.
The Quasar.
I'm the one that started it all. Before me, it was woo, but it wasn't no woo. I brought woo. I brought that in.
Born Richard Penniman in 1932, Little Richard came from America's deep south. He was one of 12 children in a poor black family.
When you're hungry, you can sing too.
I bet.
When you're down and out, you can sing. When you know that your mother don't have food for the kids, you can sing. You can dance too.
Not only was his music outrageous, but the world had never seen anyone like him. 6-inch high hairdos, makeup, mascara, even lipstick.
I was so wild to even, my mother used to say, "Richard, please don't do that, darling." The band boys didn't even want to play with me. Because everybody with me, all my band boys had a makeup kit. And they wasn't used to seeing no guys with makeup kits. And everybody was looking beautiful. Everybody was glamorous and looked good because I demanded that. And now everybody's doing it. When I started, you was condemned. Everybody do everything today. It's acceptable.
Prince, Michael Jackson, Boy George, Jagger. All of them inspired by this frenetic black man who started out with the Ku Klux Klan on his back.
The obscenity and vulgarity of the rock and roll music is obviously a means by which the white man and his children can be driven to the level with a nigger. It is obviously nigger music.
I could never understand how a person could call music nigger music and everybody wanted to dance by it. You know,
Yeah.
the same music he was calling nigger music, white kids was jumping over balconies to dance. My music broke down the walls of segregation. They were called the white spectators. And the dance was really for black people. And the whites would be upstairs in the balcony, and the white kids would leap over the balcony and come down with the black kids and dance.
Is that right?
And they loved it. I was the wrong image at the time that they wanted the white kids to have.
Pompadour and...
Yes, and they talked about me downward. And they needed the white image fast. That's where Elvis came. They didn't like because those white girls were screaming, and they brought Elvis in. They give a white image to the kids. They didn't want that black image.
Do you think you might have gone further in music if you'd been white?
Oh, if I was been white, Elvis would have never been.
According to Little Richard, while Elvis may have copied him, artists like Pat Boone stole his hits.
And he's a millionaire in a big way today. And he was able to have, he was able to take my tune and become a star. My tune made Pat Boone a star. I'm sure you know that.
At the height of his career, Little Richard turned his back on show business and became a born-again Christian, the first of several brushes with religion. And where did he first see the light? Where else but Australia?
I was on you have what you call, I don't know the name.
A ferry?
Yeah, we was on that. And we was going across, and the band boys, I said, I'm going home, I said, I'm not going to sing anymore. And they said, Richard, well, we don't believe it. I said, what can I do to make you believe it? He said, if you're telling the truth, most of them throw those diamonds in the water. So I took them off, and I threw them in and everybody wanted to jump in the water. They had to keep them from jumping in the water. You know, they was going after those rings, so there were some big rings.
I thank you, Jesus. I thank you, Jesus.
It didn't take long, though, for Little Richard to fall off the religion wagon. A few short years as a gospel preacher, and then the fast life seduced him back to the bad old ways. By the mid-60s, Richard was well and truly back, more outrageous than ever. By now, there was an up-and-coming new group of pupils to learn from the king. This time, the Beatles.
I used to sit down and talk to Paul, and Paul was the one that wanted to do the hollers. He would say, I said, woo! He would say, woo, 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 woo. The next thing you know, woo! Way up. I couldn't get that myself. We're going to tear my whole throat up. But it was really something.
And this was for Long Tall Sally.
That was for any kind of salad. She could have been shocked, I just said. No, that's what it was. It was for long. But that note, I used to teach that note.
It's when you hear him improvise that you quickly understand why the greats of rock and roll listened closely when Little Richard pounded the ivories. For all the flash and showmanship, basically, he's still a damn good muso.
I've been seeking, I've been searching, I've been looking, I've been searching, I've been seeking, I've been searching, woo, trying to find.
See, when I hear that, it just really, that type of thing, it just, it's not outdated to me. You know, some people say, well, that's not outdated. And the kids I know, it's not outdated to them either.
In his heyday, Richard sang all the way to the bank. There was more money than he could manage.
It was really so much money, I didn't know what to do with it.
Is it true that you...
It was too much. I'd be giving it away, throwing it away. I said, oh boy, it's just too many zeros behind here, you know.
Is it true that you, at one stage, used to take an empty suitcase away with you on the road?
Yes, right, and bring it back packed.
Just with cash?
Nothing but cash.
And boots, the trunks were full?
Yes, and I used to put the money on the bed and stack it up on the bed. My sister would just wallow in it. My sister Peggy was crazy. She got good sense now.
His sister Peggy may have woken up. It took Richard a little longer. He practically snorted his fortune away. He wasn't nicknamed Little Cocaine for nothing.
Oh, yes. I took so much cocaine, my nose was big enough to park diesel trucks. My nose would be packed. So much that my membranes would just be coming out on the handkerchiefs, you know, just blood would just eating out my membranes. And I saw that I was just falling, I was sinking, I was failing. Then I started shooting heroin, I started snorting heroin. Then I became an alcoholic. I've fallen so low, I didn't know where to go. That's when I started back believing in the God of Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob.
Camera is standing by, James.
Okay, can we clear the set?
Little Richard has found God again, but this time round as a practicing Jew.
You know, the Sabbath comes in earlier today. 7:16.
He takes the Jewish Sabbath seriously enough that he rescheduled this multi-$1,000 video clip around his religious commitments.
I must keep the Sabbath. I got to open it. At sundown, I got to open it.
I found out that I didn't need a needle in my vein. I needed some hope in my brain.
And you were sure that God would take you
Oh, yes.
after all your bad years?
Oh, yes.
Playback.
Roll it.
$30 since Tutti Frutti, and he's still rocking. If you thought he was finished, think again. A life full of disasters can't stop him. And this 53-year-old has left his mark forever.
That was my lot. That was my gift. I'm grateful for being a creator. I'm grateful for giving to the world what I had, the gift of rock and roll.